Moving up, trial number 9, fast class, over 22.40. Last trial for tonight. Rock and Roll Do and Sahara Sirocco. Green lights on, racing. Sahara Sirocco and Rock and Roll Do both began well, with Rock and Roll Do to go through and hold out Sahara Sirocco. So these two quality horses. National rating 90 for Rock and Roll Do and a 95 for Sahara Sirocco. They leave the straight and Rock and Roll Do leads Sahara Sirocco. There's about 6 metres between the two of them, and you would imagine there won't be anything changing in this trial of 2, because Rock and Roll Do loves to lead and Sahara Sirocco is also a very good sit and sprint horse. So I think they're in the right spot going into this trial, and only the two of them, both class horses, and they run down the back straight. They'll head up to the 1600 metre mile peg. And the lead time was 46.6, which is a really easy, steady going for Rock and Roll Do. He's a horse that can certainly run some serious times, and he leads the way. Sahara Sirocco is in second spot. Another very promising type. He gets a nice trail in the back of Rock and Roll Do, and they won't be slouching here as far as their times, because Rock and Roll Do, he's a big strider, and he comes to the home turn with just over a lap and a quarter to go, and he's doing really well. Rock and Roll Do leads, Sahara Sirocco is second. First quarter in 29.9, so it's a solid tempo for these two classy horses down to the winning post with a lap to go. He's doing it easily here, Rock and Roll Do. Mick Stanley in the cart and Chris Alford driving Sahara Sirocco as they leave the straight, and they have just over 900 metres to go. And Rock and Roll Do leads from Sahara Sirocco. They go towards the 800. Rock and Roll Do leads Sahara Sirocco, and they go past the 800 in the second quarter in 30.5, so 60.4 the half, and the leader, Rock and Roll Do from Sahara Sirocco. They run along the back straight. He now starts to stoke up this leader as he picks up the bit, and he really starts to hum down the back. He goes past the 600. He's in full flight, isn't he? Rock and Roll Do. He's going strongly, and I think this third quarter will be pretty good. Rock and Roll Do leads by 6 metres Sahara Sirocco. They really started to pick it up from the 600. 27.5 that third quarter. It looked like they were going that quick too. And they head up towards the home turn, and Rock and Roll Do, he's in full flight. Sahara Sirocco 6-7 metres behind him as they turn into the straight. It's Rock and Roll Do leads the way. Then Sahara Sirocco can do no better, but Rock and Roll Do, he's a big strong type, and he comes down. He runs some really good times this last 800, and Rock and Roll Do wins impressively. He broke Sahara Sirocco. He couldn't keep up, 20 metres away second. 27.7 the final quarter, so 55.2 last half. Scintillating times, 156.6 a mile rate. He's a good horse. He's a real good horse. Rock and Roll Do wins. Sahara Sirocco second. 2:42.4 was the race time. Mile rate of 156.6. 156.6 the mile rate. Last mile in 155.7 and 55.2 the last half. Impressive. 23/2 were the margins. 2:42.4 the race time. 156.6 was the mile rate. 155.7 last mile and 55.2 last half. 23 metres by 2 the margins. 23 metres the margins, full stop. There was no third. So 1 from 2. And that wraps up our trials for tonight. Thanks for attending, and we look forward to catching up with you all very soon.